So, hello. It's just hide that. It's been a couple of weeks since the last update, and I became aware that on the last video I was sniffing. So I'm sorry, it's hay fever. I will try not to sniff again. But as you can see, I completed the train jumper. I did run out of blue again at the top, but I figured that looks okay. Here's the train. I put in the British Rail logo, a classic. You can see the carriages are at the back. I've also, compared to the old jumper, which you can see on the previous video, I have sewed it together much better. It also fits the intended wearer, which, as you know, was definitely not the case. It turned out I was blaming him for having a funny body shape. This bit here, as I corrected a missed stitch, the knitting machine had missed a stitch, and I used the latch hook to bring it up. That'll come out when I eventually get round to blocking this. I had failed to follow the instructions on the pattern, actually. That's why it didn't fit him, and I was blaming him the whole time. It wasn't actually his fault, it was me. But now it does fit him. It's now mid-April, so it's a little bit too warm to wear this, but it's here for the future. Sorry about that. But exciting news is the train jumper has the bust jumper, which is, I made this for myself actually. It's the same, it's Drops Fiesta, which is a print. This one's kind of like a pseudo sort of Fair Isle thing. If you make this up as a sock, it presumably makes a bit more sense. I really liked how the Drops Fiesta and the different colours in the yarn just created this cool effect on the windows, on the windows of the bus, the little lights on the bus, and in the background too. I thought it made this really cute kind of hodgepodge effect. And I did something a bit different with this jumper because the knitting pattern was written in the 80s, and in the 80s in the UK, when you knitted on straight needles, you used DK yarn, all acrylic, and you knitted straight. That was it. So to make up the neckline, for example, you're directed to sew together one shoulder, knit the ribbing on the neckline straight, and then sew it together here, sew the rest together, and then to fold the neckband over. But we don't need to do that. We've got circular knitting needles. So that's what I ended up doing. I also used on the shoulders, instead of seaming it like I did here. So this is just a regular seaming it, sewing it together. I kept the stitches live and did a 3 needle bind off instead. I also I did something similar for the sleeves. So with the sleeves, I actually picked up stitches manually, flat. I picked the stitches up, and this sleeve is just grown on from there. And once I'd knitted sufficient length here, then I hooked it on the machine, completed the rest by the machine, and then just did the ribbing by hand. Which I think, apologise for the cable, I don't know why it keeps dropping. I think it looks better. Obviously, it's easier, there's less seaming involved. It's not going to come undone. Though again, that's not a finishing method that was particularly popular in the UK in the 1980s. That sounded too much like tricky stuff, so it definitely isn't featured in the pattern book I have. So we have this jumper now. Still haven't decided on a number. And this jumper. So we're all completed. I'm going to try another pattern from the same book at some point, but it's the summertime. I've been on holiday the last few weeks. We went to Europa Park We just came back from Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which is a hell of a contrast. And I'm currently making a couple of bags because what I was thinking of doing was trying to create the perfect theme park backpack, which will include, given my experience in Valhalla, it will definitely include a very, very, very waterproof pocket to put things like your phones in. The owner of this jumper didn't even zip his phone up in his pocket when he went on Infusion at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And, well, we can see his phone. It's under the water. They can't get to it because they don't drain the water till November. And he's a very silly man. He could have really hurt someone quite severely, and he lost his phone. So when you go on roller coasters, everybody, put your phone in your bag, zip up the pocket. Don't leave it hanging out of your pocket. You will lose your phone. You will not get it back. So that's a public service announcement for everybody. And this girl agrees. You're not going to destroy this jumper? No, you see, she would never do such a thing. Okay, well, I will come back with some updates and insights into making bags and my thoughts on how I will create a nice backpack that will be good for theme parks and all the things I need to create that. So thank you very much for watching.